Hello people of the web, and welcome back to another episode from the Vanilla High server. First thing I want to discuss is the kelp farm behind me. All of the kelp that's outputted from this farm ends up in just a single furnace. Now I was expecting the hoppers to fill up and this to soon be backed up with kelp. However, if we poke a hole in here, you can see that while the furnace is full, we're not backing up particularly, and we've made plenty of kelp, so it's keeping up with demand quite nicely. Now eventually this will back up, and as will the silo that I'm going to build in here. So what I'm thinking is a good solution would be to put another furnace in here and just have an on-off switch, so that whenever the silo is filling up and a lot of the indicator lights that those sea lanterns will be replaced with, when they start turning on and get to a high level, then we can just switch on the second furnace to cut down on the backlog. Now I have lots of plans for the video. Let's get started with doing these indicator lights and the silo. Seeing as this column here is 3 wide and we want 2 furnaces, what I'm going to do is put one either side and probably put a door in the middle so that I can access back here. I suppose all we actually need to do is put a lever on the front of each furnace, and then we can turn on one or both depending on how high up the silo's filled. And eventually of course there'll be that bit sealed up or a door. But before we do that, I need to work out how all the chests are going back here, and how I'm going to put these indicator lights in, of which I've only got 3, and I need 2, 4, 6, 7. And Hushbug has all of the glowstone at the cove. Ouch. Just need to find which chest it's in. Oh, probably one of these. Damn. I was hoping it might be the first chest I look in. Oh. Even better. Don't have to make the lamps, they're pre-made for me. Oh, and I probably should put a roof on this at some point. This is seeming far too simple to do. I was expecting it to be a stretch to reach something or to place. But no, this seems alright. As long as I'm not doing it wrong, which is a distinct possibility. Let's have hopper and chest. Repeater, redstone. Comparator. There, all done. That was nice and simple. Now the only thing I don't like about this is how you can see around the chest. Let's have 2 barrels. Then I'm going to place them that way, because I think they look better that way than that way, which is horrible. So with one odd job done, on to the next one. Now if Hushbug is to be believed, she's installed what I need as a framework to put her elevator in. Yeah, there we go. So down and up, wonderful. This should be straightforward. So if this one's going down, it needs to be magma at the bottom, and then the other one obviously will be going up. Sorted. Yep, bubbles. Ouch. And this should have bubbles coming down. Another job done. On to the next. We're now at our very beautiful, although pretty useless guardian farm, seeing as we still don't have spawns, but there's a few jobs to do here, including this chest that for some reason Hushbug has left here. Right, that's one job done. Job number 2 is that we're missing a couple item frames here, which used to have prismarine shards, and I'm guessing they're on a chunk order or a different chunk from those 2. Yep, there's the chunk line. So obviously the entities in this chunk disappeared. It's an easy fix. Oh, we are running quite low on shards. Also, there's a hole up there, and I've never noticed that before. I could guess what goes in there, but it's probably best that I just tell Hushbug, because while I'm sure there's a pattern to this, I don't know what it is, so she best do that. The other thing that I want to do down here is sort this system here. This is the blocks chests. So if we create sea lanterns or prismarine brick or dark prismarine, they just go in these input chests here, and they should get spat out, shoot up, and get sorted into these silos here. Sometimes the blocks miss the hoppers and just slide past and end up here. Not very often, but sometimes. So I think I want to put a recycling system on here. Now the sensible thing would be, as this chest fills up first before pushing to here, what we do is put a full block there with a lever on it. And then when we turn that lever to activate things, that means that while everything flushes out of here, they can't go back into this chest. Otherwise we'll end up with odd items, like if stone ends up in the system, it'll just keep looping round and round, which is not what we want. Now what I do want though is that hopper. Thank you. I have an even better idea. Now if we actually put the lever here instead, what we can do is have a hopper that feeds out of this chest down this way, and then we have a redstone block there, so that hopper is locked most of the time so that nothing can go in it, and a sticky piston over here, and so when that grabs the redstone block and pulls it over here, this hopper will become locked so nothing new goes in here, and that hopper will become unlocked. That seems quite sensible. If I can get out. So all we have to do is hook this lever up with that piston. While a bit basic, that should work nicely. So I could do with putting all this junk out of my pockets, which means that that chest that I cleaned up from Hushbug, it can go here now. If I remember correctly, the water stream that I need to link up to is actually in line with this hopper already. We'll just test the theory. I think it'll be this way. Although it's going to be more blocks than I remember it. And so I'm going to get a few blocks in here and then start questioning myself as to whether this is correct. And there's not a hole. Any moment now. Still not what I was looking. Oh! Here we go. So that's where the dispenser spits things out. So close. It's actually back here that we want to go. This should be very familiar and very boring, although I could do with some sea lanterns. That's quite handy. I promise that wasn't scripted. All we need is a couple comparators and a redstone. And yep, that works. Let's just seal this up. Stone. Oh, whoops. Should have been paying attention to the time. So all I need now is some ice and signs and a bucket, which I don't have any of those things with me. Well, technically I have iron, so I could make a bucket, but I'm not going to go back for the ice anyway. A bucket and some signs. Now, I seem to remember we have some spare... Oh, I was going to say some spare birch signs. Apparently we don't. That'll do. I try and use up the signs that we already have, especially when I really don't care which one I use at the moment. Because signs are one of those things, along with crafting tables, that you always make too many of because you don't have them with you. Now what we do want to make sure is that we don't have the water source here, because that means that this block would be a sign, and then of course if an item drops out and lands on the ice, it will just sit there and despawn. So what we really want to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that, source block, and then 7 flowing ones. Yeah, that makes sense. That looks reasonable. Then we just have to block this up. Oh, and of course put some packed ice down here. One regular ice goes there. Break it. Water flows. And we just get ourselves out. And don't forget to pick up your shulker. I think that'll work. Yeah. So with that lever turned down, it locks that hopper so all of the output items end up in this chest. Perfect. I dragged Hushbug along and she's fixed the wall already. And I demoed the recycling system, which she seems quite impressed with, and tested it using a jungle log. Now she should be making me a a prismarine stone slab. Yes, please. Oh, I only needed one, but sure. Because we can see all the horrible stuff behind it, so let me just... Yeah, much better. Whilst we're doing other things in here, I was just noticing that from here we can see some ugly stone and it's not that pretty. So I might change out some of this glass on the bottom layers so that it's blocked off with something like prismarine brick. And yes, this is temporary. And now's probably the best time to do it, seeing as we have nothing spawning. Oh, and my inventory's full, of course. I really need to... Yeah, those chests that I keep breaking and picking up. And done. That looks a bit tidier, so we don't see all of the redstone and odd bits of stone, which is not really in keeping with the rest of the build. Now we just need to rip out this ugly stuff. And abandon Hushbug up there. Oh, damn, she got down. I also worked out that we were missing a button, which used to be there before Hushbug reskinned it, and that's for activating the water, which stops the Guardians dying from fall damage. But also quite handy to turn it off so that when I broke the glass, the water didn't flow out and destroy redstone, because the redstone in there, yeah, it's not something that I want to have to redo. I wasn't aware that Hushbug added more fish to the aquarium. I walked over here and saw all of those in the corner and thought, this huge tank, and as far as I'm aware, the 6 that we put in here are all in the corner. But then it didn't seem so bad when I realised there's more. And ooh, that's a pretty one she's picked. Stay still, so I can show you to everyone. Ooh, that I like. I just popped down here to see how we were doing, and again, I still haven't sorted out the storage area, and we've only got a single double chest. You know what I mean. And it backed up. So I probably should get on to sorting this place out. So I'll take a trip up to the storage area to empty out my pockets and get my supplies. I recorded several clips of me building the Shulker loader, and just at the point where I was about to share it all with you working, I realised that I've actually done it all wrong, because I didn't leave a space between the hopper and the shulker that gets loaded up, which means that while the shulker's being loaded, it's also being unloaded into the chest. Which means I need to tear this out and build it up one block higher. Whoops. In theory, this should be a little bit better. Now, I've put a shulker in here, which is mostly full of pumpkins, just to save a bit of time. By pressing that button, that releases it manually. Now, what I am going to do, though, is not have it facing that way. I want it... Let's see. Where's that shulker? That one there. I want it facing this way so I can see the pumpkins going in. Oh, I should put an empty in here as well, just so we can test it properly. So if we put... If the lag allows me, if we can put one stack in there. Yeah, so once that last stack gets to 64, it should break and go into the chest. Although I do need to put something there to make sure it doesn't pop out. Fingers crossed. It only worked, blimey. I'm surprised and very pleased. I suppose now that that one's working, I should do the same on the other side, and then we can sort out the item transportation and sorting system. Sounds simple enough. I think that should be clear that that's the melon chest. There, complete. The only thing that I don't particularly like is this chest here, but it is necessary because all of the pumpkins will go straight into shulkers and be loaded up. The melon slices, of course, need to be crafted into melons, which is what this stack of chests is for here. So the slices will end up here. I have to grab them out, turn them into melon blocks, and then I can just dump them in this chest and they'll load up into shulkers, which does ruin the symmetry slightly. Do I want to put a chest up there just so it looks the same, even though we don't use the... I'm going to do that. There. Even though that chest doesn't do anything, at least it's symmetrical. Although I did seal off the back of it, which means it is darker. So I'm just going to get rid of that. So what I've managed to do is put a load of chests in a very odd way, but it does mean that the pumpkins and melon slices are right next to each other, so we can build the sorting mechanism, which is what this little thing is here. Now the only thing left is to get the items up here, which is why I'm going to dig. Let's go here. Well, that works out. Yeah, I can output the items here and they can spit up this way. With a little help from Hushbug, it's all done. So now down here, instead of them unloading into this chest, they're now unloading into this hopper chain that has a dispenser in it. Sorry, a dropper. And the dropper has a comparator clock running off of it, so that all of the items get spat out into the water, shoot up to the top, and are then sorted out. Which means, in theory, we should have melon slices in there and pumpkins loading into there, which is perfect. Just need to move these, of course, which I might as well do from back here, like so. And then we don't actually need to come back here. Today has been a bit of an odd mix of jobs all around the base, but has allowed me to tie up a lot of loose ends. And it's nice to see some of the jobs finally complete. As always, likes help a great deal, and one of my favourite things about sharing my gameplay is being able to see your feedback and suggestions in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye now.